Take it from your old pal Mike. The wrestling match itself isn't the hard part of traveling the globe in professional wrestling, it's the everything else part. Luckily for you and I, it's Mr. International to the rescue. Seeing other countries, other continents, the whole planet through professional wrestling is one of the best parts of working on the international circuit. And in just a moment, we're going to be chatting with Jake Omen. He's also known as Mr. International because through wrestling, he's been to more than 40 countries in his career as an in-ring performer and as a coach. And we're going to be talking about the international circuit with Jake right now. If you just had infinite funds, you don't have a problem, right? You can just stay in any hotel anywhere. But most of us working the international circuit, we do not have unlimited funds. You got to make it happen on a budget. And
Yep.
sometimes you are the person that's putting all the logistics and the itinerary together. So that's got to be part of the ebook you've been working on,
Yeah.
right? Like you're putting something together for people that travel internationally.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, with almost any independent wrestler, money's a luxury. And if it comes to the cost of one hotel somewhere might, be a real big chunk of your salary or all the money you really have for food, for food or whatever. I never stay in hotels. I always figure out a cheaper way to stay. I always, nickel and dime public transportation because, on one of my trips, I might be able to get to another two or three countries for just a few dollars, or I might be able to, people might give me a little bit of help to get to another place pretty cheaply and this and that. So but I don't have any money available to waste. Otherwise I might, and I don't know too many independent wrestlers that aren't worried about money in some way, shape or form. But it's like, you got to make this happen. Like there's a way to do it. I made all the mistakes, and now I'm trying to make sure no one else makes the same ones.
This speaks directly to my heart, man. Like that is at the core of Till We Make It. Um,
Yeah.
I want to put a link down below to where people can find the ebook that you have put together. For somebody who, they're just hearing about this for the very first time, in a broad sense, what do you cover in the book?
Mhm. Yeah. So the big three things are the the flight, the lodging, and then the like the transportation, how to get around. So like those are the three like big parts, and then there's kind of like accessory stuff at the end, right? But the flight, because that's the most expensive thing if you do it the wrong way. And then the lodging, same thing. If you're booking one or two hotels, you've probably spent more on two or three nights in a hotel than you should for your entire trip.
Right.
Yeah, and then just the public transportation, which is usually what you'd use, like how to get from A to B in a city. Well, that can add up really fast too. So I knock out the thing, and you'll have tons of money to save. Like even with just how I track flights and stuff like that, it's the difference between, if it's a difference between a $400 trip or a ticket or like a $1,100 ticket. Because I talk to people all the time when they do these vacations, and they're like, "Oh man, I got such a great deal. I spent, $1,200 on my plane ticket." And I'm like, man, I haven't spent $1,200 in my last three or four trips combined. And
Right.
I've been to 10 countries in the last few months. So it's like, no, there's a way to do this in a much cheaper fashion.
hmm Right. I think people imagine it's less attainable than it really is. And I think your book is like an invaluable resource, especially for people looking to kind of bump up and make the international circuit the next big step in their wrestling career. Um, when you first started really getting out there, I know you started with like Northern Europe, the UK, but as you started to get out more and more, what shocked you about international travel? Was there something culturally that you were just like, wow, I was not prepared for this?
In the Scandinavian countries, well, they just don't small talk. So you look silly
Right.
if you small. Or, I was just in the Balkans, and, they don't love necessarily like eye contact and a nod, or they don't want you to say hello if you're walking past somebody. So, or a few people have known I'm an American because when I walk past them, I smile. Just like a smile and a hello. And people
Mhm.
are like, "Oh, you're American." It's like, "Oh, well, that's kind of a small culture shock, those kind of things. So it's kind of funny the things that are so vastly different between, two groups of people.
Right. I've often heard there are some parts of the world where your smile and your shoes give you away.
Oh yeah, I actually, after my first trip, I definitely started changing my footwear when I go places to try to be just a little more stylish and blend in just a little more.
Hmm. Right on. Thinking about 40 countries and growing, your depth of international experience, it dwarves my own, man. Like, I so admire your willingness and your like adventurous travel spirit to just get out there. When you think back
Yeah.
on your whole career now, if you could flip things around, if you could trade all your international experiences for a higher degree of fame in the US, would you make that trade?
It's really hard to say one way or the other because you don't want to have like a lot of regrets or live in the past or anything.
Mhm.
Now I'm 38 years old. I got into pro wrestling when I was a kid. I was 17. So like
Wow.
now, say I think the experience and the life I've lived, like 40 countries, is worth way more than any fame here domestically. Like obviously, I wish I had an action figure, and I wish my bank account was a little nicer. But uh, I've accumulated so much wisdom in my travels because every time you go somewhere, you learn more about you than anything else.
Mhm.
So now it's like I know who I am as a being. It's developed my character, my personality. I have friends legitimately all over the world. It's also made me care a lot more about even say like political issues, which I'm not going to jump into here. But well, nowadays, whenever I hear of anything coming up in the news, well, it directly affects somebody I know personally. It's also being all these places has made me way more empathetic as a person because I've had complete strangers and at least 20 of those 40 countries take me into their home and introduce me to their families and their kids and everything. So, introduce me to their local culture. So, I can't look back and say that I would trade any of those experiences, even the bad ones. Like I've been in some weird experiences, but I've been some weird places and I've been detained and had cops like put guns to me and stuff like that. But like, hey man, that's wisdom. Those are experiences. They're stories. I wouldn't trade those for anything now.
Right on, man. You're like the James Bond of wrestling. I love it.
I want to extend my thanks to Jake for making time in his very busy schedule to chat with us here at Till We Make It. And you can follow along with Jake's adventures around the globe on his socials, which I'll link you to down below in the descriptus. Appearing on screen right now are the other interviews that I've conducted as part of the interview series here on Till We Make It. So just click on that playlist and you'll jump right in. And also on screen at this very moment is a link which will take you directly to my Patreon.